Hey, what's up guys, it's Jay here. Hope you guys are doing well and safe. So I've been using the OnePlus 7 Pro for almost a month now, and here are my thoughts. So the first thing, of course, is that display. It's so amazing. 6.7 inches basically, so 6.67 actually, but for all intents and purposes 6.7, and 90 hertz 1440p. Think about that. That's freaking amazing. And especially these days, you can get it for about $400 to $500 depending on where you get it and the condition. Now for me, the biggest thing is the display has no notch, nothing, no punch hole, none of that stuff. It uses a pop-up camera. Now that pop-up camera is mechanical, and a lot of people initially had some doubts, of course, and rightfully so, because it's something different. Now for me, I don't really use the selfie camera that much. I take a lot of photos, but not with the selfie camera. And so for me, never really used it, even this month, and even when I first bought it last year. Now, the second thing that makes a huge difference is that 90 hertz display. That thing, it makes it so smooth to use. So yeah, you can't really go back once you've tried it. It's a big difference. You kind of have to just use it in person. So 1440p is not that much of a difference to me. I can tell the difference, but in day-to-day use, you're really not going to notice it. If anything, it's the 90 hertz and the no notch display. So going away from the display and turning to how you use it. Now holding it in the hand, it's really nice to look at and it feels okay in the hand. And this is where I have some issues with. The sides are a little bit hard to hold because it's curved together, and so it's kind of tapered in. And so for me, even though I have pretty large hands, it's hard to hold it and get a good grip on it without a case. So of course, if you have a case on, it's going to be fine because the sides are a little bit bigger with the case. But if you're just using it naked, not a good idea. Especially if you drop it, it's probably going to shatter. OnePlus has been known for their fast charging technology, which uses current over voltage. Now, back in the old days, iPhone really didn't have any kind of answer to some of the Android phones, or most of the Android phones, quick charging technology. But nowadays, as of last year, iPhone has started using quick charging. So this sort of lead that OnePlus has had for several years now is kind of diminished. And at this point, it's pretty on par. Now, one of the other things that a lot of people complained about with the 7 Pro is the fact that there's no wireless charge and IP68 certification. So of course, it's not a flagship. It is the kind of what I call it, the last flagship killer, quote unquote, even though this phone was initially $700 when it came out. So talking about other features, so one of the biggest ones I'm sure you guys are thinking about is the camera. So the camera is great in daylight, photo and video. Broadly speaking, the colors, if you saw in my other video, I'll link it down below underneath the like button. Basically, it's other than like some color temperature differences and some sharpness compared to the iPhone 11 Pro that I used, it's pretty much on par with daylight. But in terms of low light or even medium light, that's where it starts to struggle. This sensor, it's not that great for low light. But if you're talking about just taking normal pictures during daylight, I don't see any problems with using the OnePlus 7 Pro. So in 2020, there's been quite a bit of pushing with the zoom lenses and how they're improving that because they want to have ways to sell you more phones. That's pretty much it. For me personally, I don't really use zoom lenses. I prefer just to get up close and take the same photo. And that's for me. So, I think that's why 2019 phones are great because they didn't really focus on that. And they were just, they just have great cameras, great specs. And then especially nowadays, you can get it for a great price. So 1 year later, OnePlus software updates are pretty okay. OnePlus does seem to cater more to their newest flagship or newest device, and they tend to push updates quicker. And as time goes by, they kind of care less and less. So if that's something that you care about, just FYI about that. So speaking of other software issues, to me, is the night mode. The night mode isn't that great on the OnePlus 7 Pro, or just in general OnePlus devices. So that when you open up your phone at night, you're going to get this jarring blue light, and then when you unlock your phone, you're going to get that yellow light. So it's kind of annoying, to say the least. So right alongside that, the fingerprint sensor that's used is an optical fingerprint sensor. And so at night, it does cause problems as well. And I remember a couple years ago when this stuff was initially being pushed, people were complaining about it. But then that's kind of it. Well, that was it. The first impression is bad, and then people went on with their lives. And for me, it's like, why can't they figure out a way to improve the tech like Samsung did? Samsung's using an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, and that has no problems at night. There's no light shining through the phone like that. So I think that's a better implementation. Or even Apple's Face ID, which uses infrared, so you don't even see it. So the 7 Pro from last year is running the Snapdragon 855 chipset. And so that's held up pretty well over the year. In terms of day-to-day use, there's no problems with it at all. It's super fast, no lag. OnePlus software is generally pretty good at optimizing that. It is known to be very aggressive in snoozing apps and killing apps in the background. So you do have to be aware of that. And if you want notifications, you'll have to disable the optimizations that OnePlus has done. One complaint I do have about this chipset is that it's not that great for intensive games. So I've been playing Honkai Impact 3rd for quite a bit now, and I just kind of get back into it. As you guys can see, I'm playing it right now, and so it gets really hot to the touch. I can't even play it for longer durations. It's unbearable, basically, to hold it. The biggest thing I had issues with is this camera in low light. The display, of course, is not as the greatest tech, and the processor as well. It gets really hot. So the software itself is my biggest complaint on the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that applies to all the OnePlus software, especially the newer one with the privacy issue that recently got revealed. But yeah, overall, I still would recommend it despite these flaws with the phone. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.